Some people don't want God, they want an audience. Some people don't want faith, they want a platform. And some people aren't worshiping, they're performing. Let's talk about what happens when faith becomes a stage and the spotlight becomes more important than the Savior. We live in a world where everything is content, even spirituality. People don't pray unless they can post it. People don't serve unless they can film it. They don't give unless they announce it. And suddenly faith becomes a performance instead of a posture. Some folks aren't seeking God, they're seeking applause. And that's where the real problem starts. When you are focusing more on getting applause and getting recognition and getting all this, that, and the third for just doing the bare minimum. For just doing what you're supposed to. You're supposed to pray. You're supposed to worship God. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. But you are waiting on recognition. You're waiting on applause. You're waiting on someone to tell you you're good. Like, why are we waiting? Why can't we just do what we need to be doing? That's just like content creators sitting up their tripod with a camera, filming them going to the homeless who are on the street, handing them some money. And then next thing you know, that's like, oh, we're doing our good deed. We're doing a great thing for the homeless today. And they do it once every few months. They'll do one in January because that's the new year. Then, okay, they're not going to do it in February. They'll do it in March. They ain't going to do it in April, but they'll do it in May. They're not going to do it in June, but they're going to do it in July. It's every other month. They're not going to do it in August, do it in September. No October, but November. Then they'll do it in December. And they'll call it the giving back, helping someone have a good Christmas. How was that helping somebody have a good Christmas? And you ain't even tried to help them all these other months. You did January, March, May, July, September, and November. Now you want to do something in December just for them to have a good Christmas? Really? You doing it in November because they have a good Thanksgiving. But that's just like them. That's just like us being like them. We pose. That's what I was looking for. We're posing. We're posers. Y'all, not me. Because one thing about me, I'm gonna keep my spirituality and stuff off of social media because everyone doesn't need to know. Now you might see me post something here and there about, oh, this song really touched my spirit, or this wasn't doing that, or I'm explaining something if something is coming up and I'm explaining it. But overall, you don't really see me post my spirituality. You don't see me post my religion on my social media like that. Unless I see something that I relate to. But anyway, the spotlight is seductive. It makes you feel chosen, powerful, important. But the spotlight also blinds you. It blinds you to humility. It blinds you to accountability. It blinds you to the quiet places where God actually speaks. Some people are busy performing for people that they stop listening to God. And I always be like, do y'all listen to God before y'all even post anything or say anything? And that always comes back to like false prophets. It always comes back to them because they're posting something. And I'm like, did you even talk to God? Because one thing that always gets me when these false prophets are saying stuff, God told me to tell you, but it is something negative. It's nothing good about, oh, God saying you're going to succeed, you're going to do this. The things you've been praying for, those doors are going to open. You are going to walk through these doors and you're going to get everything you need, everything you want, everything you deserve. You're going to get that. Because God is telling me to tell you that it is your time, that it is your season. This is your season. This is the season of open doors. This is the season of new beginnings. This is the season of transformation. This is the season of getting what you deserve. None of that. I don't hear none of that. This is what I hear. God is telling me that Beyonce is not of God. Why are we talking about Beyonce? And then why are we talking about something negative? You talking about God is saying you to tell me. Why? No. Or is God is telling me to tell you. That's it. They pause for dramatic effect. They pause for dramatic effect. He's telling me to tell you that you need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. Your life is not great. Uh, 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 Excuse me. I mean, I know my life ain't all that. But first of all, God told you to tell me that my life ain't great. Like, I don't live my life every single day. Like, I don't live my life every single day. Every message that a false prophet comes up with is either something about musical artists, i.e. Beyonce, or something negative. Nothing positive. I mean, nothing positive. You know, the brand of Christianity, the curated testimonies, the stage vulnerability, and the God told me moments that sound more like PR than prayer. When ministry becomes marketing, you lose the heart of it. You lose the honesty. You lose the humanity. And the saddest part about it is people get hurt. People get misled. People walk away from God because someone used faith as a performance instead of a calling. Faith was never meant to be a show. It was meant to be a surrender. If you ever felt pressured to perform your faith, to prove your faith, to package your faith, take a breath. Because God ain't asking you to be impressive. He's asking you to be honest. So let me tell you right now, to be listening to all these other people say, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, because first of all, you don't. They don't even do it. Real faith doesn't need a spotlight. Real faith doesn't need an audience. Real faith doesn't need applause. Real faith is lived. It's not performed. So, like I said, if you see anybody on TikTok saying, oh, God told me to tell you this, you know, sometimes I just wait for that one point. I don't, like, sometimes I like scroll on, but sometimes I wait to see is it going to be a good message or going to be a negative message. And most of the time, what I'm seeing now, it's got like some good messages. I'm like, okay. So finally, God told you something that is worth telling. But people like Jacqueline Carr, oh yes, baby, I will listen to her. Because one thing about it, Jacqueline Carr, she can minister, honey. Jacqueline Carr, she can minister. I'm like, baby, hey, yes, ma'am. She can minister. Because I'll listen to her because I know. All these other ones, people that had their little, like this one lady, she got this little thing on her head. I scroll past. I don't have time to listen to you, honey, because you ain't telling me nothing. You ain't telling me nothing. Not a thing. Nada. Nothing. Now, thank you for listening to this episode of Christian J Show. And if you ever felt like faith becomes a stage, I hope you know God sees you behind the scenes. He sees the quiet work. He sees the private prayers. He sees the real you. And that's the version he wants, not the one that's performing for a crowd.